While most people are trying to upgrade their life, I'm finding the glitch in my system. This isn't self-help, this is behavioral forensics. Because self-sabotage isn't random, it's rehearsed. This isn't weakness versus willpower. This is consciousness versus conditioning. You must do the same thing. Find out what behaviors keep repeating in your life and do something about it. The first step is to gain awareness. If you have 15 toxic exes, the problem isn't the toxic ex, the problem is you who keeps dating the same person 15 times. Every time I would try and study for my exam, I would find very interesting shows to watch every single time, and this would set me back in my study time because I would spend time watching TV shows instead of studying. This was a repeating pattern, so I started to track the triggers, trace the patterns, find that person in me that kept pressing the rewind button. I wanted to know why I was doing the sabotaging behavior after I noticed I kept doing the same thing over and over again. You don't evolve by force, you evolve by exposure. I worked at an office at a law firm, and I noticed that there were some days I would be very unproductive. Some days I could be very productive and do a lot of work, other days I would not be productive at all. So I noticed that pattern in my own behavior, and it all started with doing something in the morning that is not work. I would get on TikTok before I started my work. So I noticed that behavior and I could identify the glitch in my system. So from then on, I started saying that let me do the first and most important thing before I move on to anything else. By doing that, I eliminated the glitch in my system that is starting to scroll on social media, getting my willpower depleted, getting dopamine addicted right in the morning, rather than doing what is most important and what I went there for. When I fixed that glitch, the problem of spending too much time on social media and not being productive was fixed because I know every single day I will do something productive. And that's the funny thing. The law of momentum. When you start doing something, you want to continue doing something. So when I start being productive first thing in the morning, I want to keep being productive. Even if I do other things later on, I still feel very fulfilled that I came to my job and I did my job. You fight the darkness of self-sabotage with the light of awareness. The next thing is you don't self-sabotage because you're weak. You self-sabotage because you're tired. Every open tab in your mind is an invitation to quit. While most people wake up and decide what they're going to do for the day, I wake up and follow the instructions of my past self because I can't always trust my future self to be in line with my own plans. Why? Because I get tired, I get moody, things happen in life. So if I have a set plan already, then I just follow it. You don't need more willpower, you just need less choices. Imagine if LeBron James decided that he wanted to be an ice skater and a footballer and a basketballer at the same time. It's because he's narrowed down on his choices of activities that he's been able to gain mastery. The same thing goes for you. Stop trying to do everything and just narrow down your choices. Have routines that guide you on what to do so you can remove the decision fatigue. You don't beat self-sabotage by gaining more motivation. You beat self-sabotage by removing the need for motivation. This isn't discipline, this is design. Design the sacred structure around your life that you don't stray away from. This is non-negotiable, non-emotional, ritualized. I had a big thing about missing my classes and my grades were sabotaged. They were not good. I wasn't doing well in university. So when I gained self-awareness from point one, I made a plan. I decided that I would go to every single class. It was non-negotiable. The question wasn't, am I going to class today? No, the question was, what am I going to do in class today? Am I going to take some notes? Am I going to make a recording of the teacher? What pens am I going to carry? There was never a point in time where going to class was debatable. And Tony Robbins said this, The way to change your life is to ask the right questions. Instead of asking, why am I so broke? Ask yourself, how can I make more money? Start asking yourself the right questions. So for me, it was a non-negotiable. When my friend came and told me that he doesn't go to class and all he does is he studies. He studies by himself, and in the event he does attend class, he's up to par with everyone because he's really good at studying for himself. I was like, great, that's awesome for you, but that had nothing to do with me because I had an agreement with myself, which was what? I always go to class. There's no other option. Rain or sunshine, happy, sad, I was in that class. That was my decision. And it removed a lot of the analysis paralysis around the decision, and I saw myself improve. You must reach a point in your life where some things are non-negotiable, non-emotional. You have made it your routine. And don't be mistaken, this is not about control. This is about conservation of the energy. This is directing your life force energy to things that will build you rather than things that will destroy you, rather than to useless things that sap your energy and never add any value to your life. This is strategic direction of power. This isn't hustle, this is sacred structure. Like right now, I have my morning and nighttime routines. They add some structure and peace in my life. In the evening, I do majority of my mindset work. As I do my 10K steps, I like to visualize my future. I like to walk as the person who has what I desire. I do that every single night, and it's a routine and it's non-negotiable, and it makes me feel good. Have those things that build you as part of your daily routine. The third point is you don't just break the cycle, you outgrow the character that keeps repeating this behavior. No self-sabotaging behavior survives identity shift. You're not beating self-sabotage by fixing the behavior. You're upgrading the actor behind the actions. Because when you become someone else, automatically you think different, you do different. Things are not the same. You can imagine it as if somebody completely different possessed your body. They would obviously have completely different thoughts and do completely different actions. Now the person that's possessing this body of yours is the highest version of yourself who already has. Think from the end in mind. Think about what that person thinks about. Now that they are in the perfect relationship with the person they love, and this is the person they've always dreamed of, how did they get there? What are they doing? Now that they have the job of their dream, now that they have the money of their dreams, now that they have this and that, what are they doing? This isn't about behavior. This is identity transmutation. You don't have to visualize success. You become the person to whom success is inevitable. When I decided that I wanted to be a lawyer, the first thing I knew that I couldn't be shy and have a hard time speaking in front of people, because the me who was a lawyer obviously had to speak to people. And so I visualized that self and I asked myself, what am I doing? The answer was simple, I'm speaking. So what did I do from that point on? I would speak as much as possible. Whenever I got the opportunity to speak in front of people at events, at reunions, at church, at home, meeting new people, speaking to them, I would do it because I knew my future self was speaking and had no problems talking to other people. It's really as simple as that. Imagine what self who has that thing is doing and do accordingly. Dress accordingly, act accordingly. Do all the things possible. That version of you will soon take over if you stick to it long enough. And the you that needed the self-sabotaging behavior to cope will disintegrate and shift to nothingness. They will be integrated into this new self who was like, I can't believe I used to do that. Anyway, move on. It's like facts have changed. It's like how yesterday was a different date and today is another date. Sometimes you might get confused with the date, but doesn't mean that that date is reality. You just change the date. You're like, oh, it's not the 7th, it's the 8th. Okay, I used to be this way, now I'm this way. Okay, next. And that's how you push through life. Okay, self-sabotage doesn't define you. All you need to do is outgrow that behavior by adopting a new identity, the identity that suits the goal that you're striving for. Point number 4, self-sabotage thrives in secrecy but shrivels up in exposure. While most people are trying to find friends, I'm picking frequencies because I know if you surround yourself with mirrors who reflect your future self or where you're going, they will pull you into that new identity. This is identity reinforcement. When I was in school, I decided to surround myself with very successful students. I didn't even want to copy what they were doing. I just wanted to see what they were like. And the more I surrounded myself with them, I immediately felt the difference between myself and them. They were self-driven. It was almost like it was obvious what they were going to do. They knew it. They had a plan. They had planned their future. They were not just coasting along. They were going after their goals with intensity. And the more I looked at them, the more I wanted to do more, the more I knew I could be more. Because I also noticed that these were just average people. There was nothing special about them. So what you do is surround yourself with people who reflect to you where you're going. Friends will pull you up and friends will pull you down. And let me tell you, it's your limiting beliefs that think that these people won't be friends with you. If you step into that identity and walk in like you know you deserve their friendship, like you know that you could be friends and it's fine, nobody cares, they will believe you. People follow the highest frequency in the room. If you're certain, they'll follow you. You don't need more self-control. You just need less friction between who you are and who you're becoming. And what you're doing is reducing that friction by changing your environment and changing the people you interact with. I come across very high-powered, intense people. The more I'm around them, the more sure and confident I am on myself because when you take space, they respect you. But if you shy away, they don't. I've also realized people reflect back to you your own beliefs about yourself. If you're shaky on the inside, they'll give you a shaky result. If you're very certain, they believe you and they follow you. This isn't just connection, this is strategic belonging. When I started my 10K steps habit, I was only doing about 6,000 steps a day, but I decided to let all the people in our office join our walking app. I suggested it, so everybody joined the app, and to my surprise, most people were walking more than 8,000 steps, including our intern who would sometimes even reach 17,000 steps. Without conscious thought, I immediately hiked my steps up to 10K steps, and I was able to sustain it longer than if I was by myself. Leverage the power of other people. It is so easy to maintain a habit when you're in an environment where that habit is the culture. The 5th point is you don't beat self-sabotage by getting more motivation. You beat it by recognizing the cost of the behavior. This isn't about punishment. This is about transmuting pain into power. Remember the last time you went back to that ex that cheated on you? Remember how it felt when they cheated on you again? Don't forget that, because knowledge is only power if you learn. If you keep repeating the same mistake, you're still in the loop. You need to get out of that loop and see the situation for what it is. You don't run from pain, you use it for fuel, for power, for moving on to the next level. A lot of people say this, is that when they were at their lowest, they got the strength to put in the work to make the decision to change their lives. You must remember what it felt like back in the day. Even if it's not for a long time, I'm not saying you wallow in the past. What I'm saying is that don't forget why you started this journey in the first place. Because when that temptation comes to go back, usually you're not thinking about how much it sucked to be there. You're thinking how good it would feel to go back and procrastinate, how this behavior is familiar, how it's comforting. But you're going to interrupt that thought and go back and remember why you started the journey. Transmute that pain into power. The hard times will be the bedrock in which you lay the new foundation for your new life. Betrayal doesn't mean you never trust again. Betrayal can mean that you became stronger, you became smarter, you now know how to pick the right kind of people to be your friends, to be your lovers, to be your teachers. And you still keep the open heart. You grew out of that. You grew out of that situation rather than that situation taking you down, because you're stronger than that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Love you.